All right, everyone, welcome back into another props video. Give me touch on the top prop bets today in the MLB and NBA for both PrizePicks and Underdog. Let's go in and get into it. Now, we are coming off of a very good weekend. Did not do a video on Sunday, but on Saturday, gave you guys 2 bet slips. Went 4 for 6 on the day. Underdog slip ended up hitting, so plus 1 unit on the day, 5+ units on the weekend. So very good stuff there. Looking at the slate that we have today, we are seeing that we are gaining some pretty good fantasy score edges. We have a few prop bets to start out with that on PrizePicks. They are looking like good prop bets for the under for Juan Soto, Bryce Harper, and Pete Alonso. These 3 right here, where we're getting very good edges, they're actually going to be better bets on Underdog. Now, I spent the whole weekend working on the PrizePicks tab. I'm going to work on the Underdog tab a little bit today and hopefully have that finished and ready to go out to you guys tomorrow. But we can kind of just tell based off of these fantasy score prop bets that we are getting edges on Underdog. Now, a lot of the Underdog lines that you will see in here are going to be slightly skewed for what the Underdog line should be based off of the PrizePicks scoring, but you can still see like these first 3 are all going to be actually the exact same on Underdog today. So we are seeing now the calculation is different. Let me just get that straight. Slight different there between steals and walks, but it's not really a big difference. And so for the most part, we can see that Underdog is still going to be a little bit heavier on these prop bets than PrizePicks. So these are going to be better prop bets on PrizePicks. I hope that wasn't too confusing for you guys. But jumping into it, I want to call it some like prop line differences that we are getting as well. Like we got Aaron Judge for over fantasy score on PrizePicks. We are going to see that is going to be a much better bet on PrizePicks at 8.5. Underdog has set 9.5. The average sportsbook line would have it set closer to 9.5 as well. That'd be about a 50-50 chance there. So we are gaining a pretty decent edge there. But really, I would say the best bet that we are getting on the board today is actually Corey Seager for over his fantasy score at 8. This should not be the case. Or you bet the under on Underdog, whichever one you think is the best. Now, I do want to call it the projection data. Like I said, at 8.5, the average sportsbook line would put this at 7.9, but they would heavily be favoring the over there at about 55% likelihood for him to get over 7.94 for fantasy score. So that is seemingly a big edge that we are getting on the day today. With that, as expected, like normally the fantasy score prop bets are going to be the ones where we are getting the biggest edges. If you guys want to group these together where you're betting the under fantasy scores together or the over fantasy scores together, I get it. By all means, that makes sense. Now from there, we are getting some good EV bets as well. I mean, Jake Berger for over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. That's a good one. Kyle Tucker for under 1.5 total bases. That's a good EV bet as well. So I do think we are getting some good prop bets on PrizePicks as it sits right now. And we don't even have a full board yet with without having the pitching fantasy score prop bets as well. So I'm kind of excited to see what the board looks like with that as well. Now let's go ahead and jump on into NBA. We are getting a lot of good NBA bets. And like I said, guys, we are getting a lot of good NBA bets as it sits right now. A lot of good over fantasy score prop bets as well. So Trey Murphy for over fantasy score is one that's popping up as well. A very good edge likelihood. The average sportsbook line likes the over at 31.6. And so at 30, yeah, we can see that's a pretty big edge. Now, part of the reason why this prop bet is popping up as much as it is because Alvarado is out for the Pelicans and also Brandon Ingram is out as well. So we do see a slight bump in production for Trey Murphy, and so that's why we can see really over the past 4 games it makes sense why he's been able to get closer over this, because Ingram's been out the past 4, Alvarado's been out the past 3, so it does make sense why the data would be liking the over here. And you could argue a slightly better matchup than the last 2 in which he was able to get the overs there as well. Another one that we saw popping up is Banton for Portland, and Banton has been playing very well for them. We can see that he already is a popular bet for a lot of people with rebounds and such. He has been getting a lot more minutes or rebounds and assists. People like that prop bet. Don't mind that, but fantasy score is the one where we are getting the biggest edge. And I do want to call it the matchup with Orlando is not going to be a great matchup to really be chasing. But like when we look at how many players are banged up for Portland, it does make sense that he could be someone that has a good game. Now, again, Orlando, difficult matchup. He doesn't even start. He comes off the bench, which I think actually leads to a little bit more usage for him. You're going to see Jabari Walker, who I'll touch on in a second as well, popping up. But Bannon does make sense to get over his fantasy score, especially if he does get around the 30 minutes that he's projected to get. He has been about a point per minute producer. It does feel a little bit risky given the match with Orlando. So I don't know if I'll be going in on that one as much as, maybe the data would suggest that we should. We are, late season NBA DFS. You kind of pick and choose your spots where you like the data or you like what the data is telling you or not. A spot where I do like what today is telling us to do is Cam Thomas, who has just been going off. He's just been playing a lot of minutes as well. Now, the one concern I have about this prop bet is that look at the injury report for Brooklyn. They're good to go. So Dennis Smith has been someone that has been out, as well as Cameron Johnson. And so I guess it wouldn't be shocking to see them maybe take a step back or see Cam Thomas take a step back today. But at the same time, this is a very good matchup going against the Pacers as well. So really, I'm okay with getting to it still. Yes, slight reduction with Dennis Smith probably pulling some of his minutes. Maybe Cam Johnson being active shifts some minutes away from Cam Thomas, but it's not going to be much. The usage is still going to be there for him. The production should still be there for him as well. I think he's going to be another quality option for us on the slate. And then from there, we are seeing DFS as well. I do worry about him a little bit. Now, his minutes should be secure, but again, Cameron Johnson being back, Dennis Smith being back, we don't know for sure. Jabari Walker, currently a great EV bet at 8.5 for over his rebounds and assists. If you guys can get that prop bet, by all means, run that one out. And then just jumping into some hockey real quick as well. I really hate how they've been doing the hockey board lately. They have it to the point where it's not even worth doing hockey props because you're not getting any sort of edges on them. So I've really just not been targeting hockey, which is unfortunate because hockey sweats, shots on goal sweats can be fun. Looking at the prop line differences tab, we are getting kind of one decent one for Dota 2. 1.5 for kill difference. That's decent. Bet the over on PrizePicks at 12.5. Bet the under on Underdog at 14 there. So a decent edge there. Let's see if we're getting any other big prop line differences. No, that's the biggest one there. So I really don't mind that, guys. If you are running a 4-slip bet and you want to make it a 5-slip bet and you don't like any other prop bets, you could run that one out there for the over. Same thing with like making a 6-slip bet. I don't mind that, but that also feels like you'd be forcing it a little bit. So with that, let's get into the PrizePicks bet of the day, and then I'll show you guys some underdog stuff as well. Now, I will be running out Aaron Judge for his over fantasy score, and it is a popular bet. I'm actually wondering if the popular bet is for the under or for the over. I don't really know, but you could argue 3 kind of bad-ish games in a row probably due for a good game, so don't mind the over here as well. Just want to call that out. So yes, looking at the PrizePicks bet of the day, kind of a simple one, sticking with the top 2 NBA prop bets that we have going with really the best bet I would say on the board that we have with Corey Seager over his fantasy score, going with Aaron Judge. Again, we saw a decent prop line difference there as well. And then these 2 under bets are the 2 I like the most for PrizePicks purposes, because you're going to see the underdog bets. What I'll show you guys right now is that I believe we should just be running out these 3 for under their fantasy score, because they were already popping up a lot on PrizePicks for under fantasy score, so might as well bet the under on Underdog because, well, their lines are much more aggressive here as well. Now, I do want to point out one other prop bet as well before I get out of here. So I already mentioned the big prop line difference for Corey Seager. Wanted to point out this one as well. If you guys want to maybe try to get lucky and get a middle where you bet the unders on Underdog and bet the overs on PrizePicks, that does make sense. That's not something I'm going to be doing, but I know a lot of people like to kind of try middling bets. That's fine if you guys want to run that out there as well. Decent edge there. But that's going to be all for today's video. Make sure to give a like and subscribe to the channel. That does help with the channel. If you guys want access to the 9to5sports.com tools, head on over to 9to5sports.com. Available for $10 a month. The MLB tool is now live for PrizePicks. So go ahead and check that out. Thanks for watching. And as always, let's keep cashing.